The CORS error is a notoriously annoying error every front-end developer has faced or will most likely encounter sometime in their career. Here's a comprehensive guide on what the error is and how to fix it. Buckle up, it's going to be a long one. CORS is short for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing. It is a security feature implemented by web browsers to prevent a web page from making a request to a different domain or origin from one that served that web page. This feature is to help prevent cross-site request forgery and cross-site scripting attacks. We can go over what those are in a different video. Now, the CORS issue typically happens when you're developing an app and make an API call from one domain, usually your local host, to an API that's hosted on another domain, say api.example.com. Since the domain of your app, localhost, is different from the domain of the API you are trying to call, the browser automatically enforces the CORS policy and blocks the call. That explains the message we see on the console stating the request has been blocked. Now, it's worth noting that two URLs would be considered to have a different origin if they have different protocols, ports, or hosts, meaning you can have an API running locally on a different port, and it would be considered to have a different origin. That's why you might sometimes see this error on APIs you are running locally. Luckily for us, there are multiple ways to bypass the error. The first way is to configure the API you are pulling data from to tell the browser that it's okay for your client to pull that data. When you make the request, the server might fulfill it, but the browser is blocking the response because it's missing the header permitting your website to access its data. Setting the access control allow origin header in the response from the server will tell the browser that you are allowed to access the data. You can set this header to your client's app origin or use a wildcard to allow any origin. You can also set methods allowed and any necessary authorization. The second fix is to use a proxy API. You can set up a proxy server that forwards API requests from your React app to the API server. The CORS policy is not enforced on server-to-server communications, so the proxy API can get the data from the API server. The proxy API will then return the data to your React app with the proper CORS headers attached so the browser doesn't block it. You can create your proxy server or use a CORS proxy server like CORS Anywhere. The final and most popular fix is by disabling CORS on your browser by using an extension like CORS Unblock or Allow CORS. This is not a proper solution. It will only work on your computer, but it can be helpful during development. The extensions work by assigning a wildcard to the access control allow origin header of every HTTP response that comes into the browser, so the browser doesn't block the response. You can also modify it to add your custom domain. Again, it's not the best method, but it's definitely the fastest one. If you have any topics you'd like to see me explain, leave them in the comments below. As always, follow Omar Coles for more coding tips like this.